Hi, I'm Bacopin and you're watching Rappler. For this edition of Rappler Talk, we'll be talking to someone whose latest work is about rebirth and about conquering adversity. Two things we need to hear about and we need to talk about, especially now that we're still trying to make sense of this pandemic. Please help me give a warm digital welcome for our guest today, Max. Hi, Max.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Hello. Thanks for dialing in all the way from LA, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. My wife is due to give birth any day now, so I'm just in that limbo of like it could happen at any moment.
So
And
exciting.
yeah,
Are
it's
you
pretty great.
nervous?
No, not nervous. I think I was nervous when she first said I'm ready to have a baby, which was like a year and a half ago. That's my heart pounded. I was like, oh my God, can I be a dad? But now that I've accepted it, I'm ecstatic. I'm ready to be really tired, but besides that, I'm gonna be so full of love. I know that the exhaustion will be okay.
Okay, before you dive into the world of fatherhood, let me ask you about Color Vision. So it was
Yeah,
released a
sure.
little more than a month ago, right?
hmm
So tell me about the process of creating it.
Yeah, it was a wonderful adventure because a couple of the songs happened, 4 years ago, and the majority of the work happened right after I had this vocal surgery and I couldn't speak for a while, and so the album is really finding myself again in what you said in the intro of conquering that adversity of getting my voice back and finding the colors of my world again. So it all really, I would say like 80% of the album happened right after that in the last 2 years, and it just was me finding my joy, being really grateful for every moment, and displaying that pain and joy and all of it together in this body of work that is definitely more of an arc than I've ever created with an album, and hopefully people like it.
Right. So it was prompted. Well, part of it was prompted by the experience of like almost like what was that like though? Like because I can't imagine not being able to string words together. Like like
Yeah.
it's part of my personality. So obviously singing is part of who you are as a person. So what was that experience like?
I think when you're forced to be sort of trapped in your own head, you have to get more comfortable with yourself. I think you look at yourself in a different way, and of course the obvious of like me not being able to sing and be say I love you to my wife and all of these little things that I took for granted personally. Those things were a part of it, but then actually having to just when you lay at night and you're thinking and you're trapped in your head, just that for 4 months and being there. And finally, I really got more comfortable being alone in a weird way. I'm an only child, so I hate being alone. I love surrounding myself with people. So I finally got more cozy, just being okay that you're alone right now. You're in your head. You can't sing. You can't express yourself. What are those demons that you've been ignoring for so long? And I think this album is a lot of those moments of actually acknowledging those demons and those feelings and just putting them out on display. So it was tough, but it really was very healing in the end. Something that I had been ignoring for a long time.
Right. To me, your music, it's not just the words that you use, it's not just the song, but it's also the way you sing your songs. It sounds very vulnerable, if that makes sense. I mean, I know that you've been doing this for so long, but like, is it ever still difficult to put yourself out there?
I think it's a great question. I feel like it depends. That that's why I don't really work with that many people. The people I do work with, I usually connect with right away because you really do have to connect on that spiritual level to say to somebody, okay, we're gonna write a song about a scared pregnancy I had, or this person passing away, or that I think I'm gonna marry this person. Those are all such vulnerable things to share with somebody that I think that's why I choose to work with people that I really get that soul bond with, and I say, okay, it's like we've known each other our whole lives. Let's express this song. But if someone doesn't make you feel comfortable in that room, then you aren't as vulnerable. So I think a lot of it has to do with the people I've been lucky to surround myself with and create the music with, who are just as vulnerable with me. We take that deep dive and just let it be.
Right. So you have this circle of people who you trust, who are creatives, who will respect the way that you want your song to come out. But like once it's out, like does it still rattle you? Like when you release a song, when it's finally out there for your fans and for people who are just about to discover you to hear, like does it ever still do you get worried or do you get nervous when you're about to put out something new?
Oh, every time, of course. It's I always feel like I have the special nuggets of knowing what excites me most, so I expect it to excite people most. But there's always that moment, like the night before, and you're looking at how many, is it gonna get on New Music Fridays, all those little things. But then additionally, more importantly, like, are the fans gonna feel this story as much as it felt to put it out there? And that's always a wonderful surprise if they do feel it. And more often than not, my gut is right. When I know a song feels really special and it will hopefully speak to people, usually it does. And that's an amazing feeling to know that we're that connected, that, you don't have
Right.
to deny yourself that if you know that something hopefully will connect it usually does. And that's still scary and I'll never get over it. But there's a comfort in knowing that those people are the ones that I do trust with this, and they trust me with their ears to listen to it.
Right. I think that's something that's so magical about music, in particular. Like when you go and when you dive into the personal, it becomes
Mm,
universal. Strangely enough, like once other people listen to it. Okay, so I'm just
definitely.
wondering as well, because I've been stalking you on Twitter. Like, how
Love
do
it.
current events affect you as an artist? Because of course we are doing this interview with a backdrop of it being a very exciting time in the US, right? So how
Mhm.
do these things affect you as a person and as an artist?
Oh, every moment affects me. I think that's why I try to write in the moment. It's like I'm never
Right.
gonna write a song about to be having my first child again. So right now is the moment to write those songs. And I'm never gonna be able to write a song about having our first incredible woman in the White House who my daughter will be able to look up to and see dreams coming true. There's so many beautiful
Right.
things there in this moment. I think denying that's the best time to create something about that. I'm always affected by the present, and if anything, it's a blessing and a curse, because sometimes you want to write a love song and you just want to do, but that's not the time. It's like when someone you love passes away, that's the time you got to write about it, because that's when it feels the most visceral, and so the pain is so present that that's the only way to bottle it up. So the same with our country and what we're going through. And so as an artist, you're an empath. You're feeling all the feelings, whether it's good or not.
Right.
You're in it. So it's definitely good to write about current affairs and see where it goes.
Right. It seems to me that you're the kind of artist who's not afraid to embrace the intense emotion that happens in the moment. But what's your creative process like? Like, are you the kind who will literally stop in your tracks and like write something down on your phone, or are you the kind of person who needs to hunker down, and isolate yourself from the world to write songs, to write music?
No, you nailed it the first time. I'm the type where, like, my wife, it's 4 in the morning and I gotta go voice note in my daughter's room, and it's just I've learned that you think it's everybody knows this feeling, but you think that you're gonna remember the thing the next day. You
Yeah,
never remember the
exactly.
thing the next day. You have to just, if it happens, go get it. That's the moment that the universe gave you that idea. So just you have to make it happen. And she's gotten used to it now. She's gotten used to being married to me, and like it's 4 a.m. I just have to be quiet when I leave the room.
The little compromises that you have to make. But
Hmm.
I also wonder, like, what comes first? Is it the melody, or do the words um come to your mind at first for when you think about a song?
More often than not, it's a melody. Yeah, it's definitely a melody moment. And then I then usually go for, the context, the story. What am I diving into? What's the inspiration? For Blueberry Eyes, for example, I came in and we had all these other colorful moments in color vision, but it felt like such a missed opportunity to do something sort of fruity and loving and exciting. So I had this inspiration from Strawberry Fields, the Beatles song Strawberry Fields and being from New York, and just feeling like, oh, I need to do something with, let's do something like that. Strawberry skies. My wife loves sunsets. That sort of, that strawberry sky, and then she has these big blue eyes. And that was the line when I first did that song. I was in the studio with a couple of writers that I work with, and I just said that, the blueberry eyes, strawberry skies line. And they were like, look, we got to do that. That's it right now. So it usually starts with that little nugget, and then we expand. And I just like finding those nuggets.
Speaking of Blueberry Eyes, it's been my LSS for several weeks now. Maybe my housemates find it annoying at this point, but I mean, it's a beautiful tribute to your wife, and I think it's a beautiful tribute to anyone, right? How did the song exactly come together?
Yeah. It started with these amazing producers, Amon Roger, who did pretty much all my album. They did Love Me Less and Color Vision, so many of the records. and a new friend of ours, this wonderful guy, Michael Pollack. It was our first time writing together. And, as I just said, the Blueberry Eyes, Strawberry Skies line came. We started fleshing out the full song. And then, months later, I finally met Suga in person in Korea. And, we just hit it off right away. We connected on over basketball and Korean food, and just, you just know someone's meant to be your friend sometimes when you meet them for the first time. And that's how we felt together. And we expanded that friendship. And he asked me to jump on August D. Burn It. And I sent him
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of songs in the album. And finally, I just sent him the whole album. And he chose Blueberry Eyes of all the songs that he felt the most connected to. And it was really beautiful because we had written the whole song, but we took out the second verse that I had there, and I said, you know what, just put your story there, write what you want to write. There's no creative box. You create what you want. And he ended up writing the verse that you hear, which is, so special. I think it's a new sound from what people might be used to hearing his lyrics being about. It was so
Right.
romantic and just really, really wonderful. And so, yeah, he added that, and then the rest is really history. It's been an amazing ride since.
Right. I was gonna ask about that because like I think most of his fans, most army, would be aren't aren't used to him in the context of a very out there love song. Did it surprise you that of all the songs in the album, that was the one that resonated with him the most?
Yeah, I was. It was interesting because, but we again, I think that's been a part of getting to know each other. It was when I even first sent him the songs, we just started to become friends, and now that I've really gotten to know him via like actually getting to know him, but also getting to know through his fans. Army is so loving of him. They treat him like family, and he treats them like family. And I've learned so much about him and via the fans, and it's become more and more clear that he has a genuine side of love to him. And obviously the verse is clearly about his love for the people that give him love, which is so much of it is Army and his family, the people in his life. So now that I know him, I know he's got a soft heart like me. It makes sense. He's just a diehard romantic like I am. It makes total sense now.
Okay. Also, like when you write about these personal moments in your life, like is there ever a point where you think to yourself, this is too much? Like these are things that the world doesn't deserve to know or doesn't need to know. Like is there ever a point where you're like, maybe it's better to keep this to myself? Or is it always a process of, just like sharing what you want to share and sharing what you feel to the world?
Such a great question. I think I've only had a few songs ever, and really, it's out of respect to my wife. I wrote one song
Hmm.
that I showed her, and it was about something really personal to her in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I would rather you not put this out, but I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you that you wrote it. And so for me personally, and that of course, obviously, nothing is worth not respecting
Of
her
course.
wishes and her feelings. But other than that, the majority of it, I think it's what you sign up for to be an artist and a writer. We're hopefully writing songs that are part of the soundtrack of your life that makes you feel connected, that makes you feel like, oh, this is somebody else knows what it feels like to fall in love. Someone else knows what it feels like to lose someone. Someone else knows what it feels like to be struggling with their identity. I mean, I think that you take that. I think you make that choice. If you want to be an artist, you have to say, well, that's the point. I'm making music for people to have as their soundtracks, and in order to do that, it has to feel like it's their soundtracks. They wouldn't hide something from themselves or their own lives. So this music has to feel like it's a part of their life. And I think I'm honored that's what I get to do, and that I get to be a part of people's lives in that way. And I think if I didn't give them everything I have, anything I'm going through, it wouldn't do it justice. It would feel empty. It would feel hollow. So it gets tricky sometimes, obviously, out of respect for people I love, but it's the name of the game, and I'm happy to play it.
I like that phrase, the soundtrack of people's lives, because it is what music essentially like in your darkest and brightest moments, right? There's always a song that either randomly plays out of fate or that you purposefully play to maybe give you some company at your lowest and
Hmm.
highest points in life. Speaking of highest points, you're
Hmm.
expecting a child anytime soon. How is that changing you, or how will you
Mm.
think it'll change you as an artist and as a person?
I think it changed my priorities. Of course, I think that I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to make sure that anything I do is worth the time of being away from her. I mean, nothing's ever going to be
Mm-hmm.
worth the time of being away from her, but whatever it is, it has to be so worth it that it benefits our life as a family. And then I think it just all I hear from all my friends that are dads, that are parents, is that you just feel so much more. And I obviously, I'll know very soon what that feels like, but because you feel so much more, you feel so much anxious, you're more anxious, you are more stressed, you're full of love, you empathize with people more. I think for me, at least, how I write and everything, I think I'm excited to see where it takes me, because I think that music is nothing but a connective tissue to the world. And if I can just feel more for more people because of this little girl, I think it will only make the art better, I would hope, and make the music more connective. So I'm excited to hopefully see if that happens.
Right. This is the title of this interview of the story page that the interview is coming out with, because we hear the word authenticity a lot, right? Like
Mm.
not just among singers or artists, but everyone wants to be authentic. Either they use it either as a buzzword or as
Mm.
an genuine aspiration. Like earnestly, they just want to be authentic or come out as authentic. What does
Mhm.
authenticity mean for you?
I think it's being fearlessly yourself, even if it isn't in your best interest for your career or your relationship or any of that. And I think that's a something that takes a lot of bravery. I think that people who fight to be authentic out there, I love Dolly Parton. I love so many wonderful artists in the game, but also, I think of Barack Obama as someone who's so authentic. I just think that so many people who are giving their all out there and are okay with being hated or loved for it, and they aren't pandering, that I think that's the pinnacle of authenticity. And it ain't easy, but if you're doing it, if they love you, they love you for you. If they hate you, they hate you for you. But that's being authentic. That's you. So that's what I would say is the definition.
Right. So Max, you've been in the industry for you're not a newbie obviously, but are there still moments that are like, pinch me moments? You can't believe this is happening, or that you can't believe you're able to do this um as a part of your life's work.
Oh, every day, so often. And I think even the most with this song, because I always break it down. It's like, whatever industry you're in, you always think about what are the goals? What are you getting at that's going to make you feel fulfilled? And I think so often it's like the big numbers, like you get a million streams in a day, or a
Mm-hmm.
millions of this or whatever else, or you're number one on Billboard and all those things. They're all amazing. But I think, why do you do those things? It's so that fans or people care. I mean, why else? What's the point? You have all these plaques, but if people aren't like invested and dedicated to the message or the work, then isn't that for the fans? And I feel like more than ever, I feel so connected with the fans and HK and Army. And so just those moments of people picking up the cat in the music video, or picking up the little details that you spend so much of your life just wanting to hopefully matter to people and not just be passive. Like, those are the pinch me moments, when people as a collective come together as a community and say, like, oh my God, you put the cat in there. That's so dope. I can't believe you did that. That pinches me, because I'm like, oh my God, I took that risk and people actually notice. That's amazing. And of course the other stuff, like when the song's on today's top hits or any of those things, I jump around the house and I'm ecstatic every time. I mean, it never gets old. But I think those moments are what really fill my soul the most. And those are forever, luckily. Like, people, humans, connection, that's the goal. And that's what, that's at your fingertips. Each person, each number is a person, not like just some random bot. It's a human, and that's an amazing thing.
Right. The small interactions that lead
Yeah.
up to bigger accolades eventually. Okay, so what's next for you? Obviously, Color Vision a few months old, but are you already working on new things, or are you just
Oh
like
yeah.
getting ready for the baby?
That too. I mean, yeah, I got a little more. I got a little ahead. I got a bunch of great stuff. I'm really ecstatic. One of my favorite songs I've ever gotten to do is going to come out next year, and I've been putting in all the spices together for that. And then for Blueberry Eyes, we're having a lot of fun. I got my wonderful friend Steve Aoki did a version that's coming out this week, and we got
Exciting.
some other. It's so cool. So I'm glad he joined, and I know Army loves him too. So it's such a great symbiotic relationship with all the people involved. And then, yeah, just a bunch of other versions. And I'm going to put out a deluxe album for the album, which has some more goodies. So, gosh, the fans are going to be fed for a long time. I'm very ecstatic to have a full feast for them. I hope they enjoy it.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for spending time with us all the way from LA. Congrats on the album, the single,
Salamat.
the baby that's coming. I think I'm most excited for that for you. And
Me
I'm super
too.
looking forward to whatever else you'll be coming out with, especially given that a baby's coming into your life. I can't imagine the kinds of songs that you're gonna put out from that experience.
I'm ecstatic to share them, and thank you for the time. Salamat. And it's mahal kita or is it mahal kita?
Ma-
Is I love
maha-
you.
mahal ko kayo. You can say
Mahal
that.
ko kayo. That's right. Oh my gosh, Chen's gonna kill me. My teacher's gonna kill me. I've been learning so much Tagalog, and I'm like, okay. Anyway, mahal ko kayo. Salamat. I even learned how to say thank you for listening to Blueberry Eyes, and now right in the moment where I need it the most, I'm forgetting it. But anyway, mahal ko kayo.
Salamat sa pag-stream ng you can use English. Salamat sa pag-stream ng Blueberry Eyes.
Salamat. One more time in the middle part. Oh wait, I see it on the screen. Wait,
Okay.
salamat
Oh,
sa
oh.
pakikinig sa Blueberry Eyes. Right, I remember that. Was that's acceptable? Salamat sa pakikinig sa Blueberry Eyes, baby. There you go.
Thanks, Max. So this
Thank you,
has
buddy.
been Bea. You're watching Rappler. For more interviews like this, hit follow or subscribe. And thank you for watching Stream Blueberry Eyes, Stream Color Vision. Bye, guys.